The Sportscast, January 17th, 2021. If you haven't yet, please subscribe in all our channels, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and also Instagram. You could hit that notification if you follow us on Instagram, and we can do a lot of things there as well. Also, you can download our app, The Sportscast for iOS, or visit our website, thesportscast.net. This past weekend was NFL wildcard weekend. Was one more game tonight, but this weekend was kind of the blowout. I think 4 out of 5 games were blowouts. So not too exciting. There were, I guess, one good exciting game, I thought, which was the Cowboys and Niners. And then, the second best was the Bengals and Raiders, which is not saying much there. But the other games were blowouts, maybe breaking some records. Anyways, a man that who felt a blowout last night, Joe Toscano, welcome back to the Sportscast.
Thanks for having me back. My team experienced a blowout, but we kind of expected that blowout. So, always here's a lesson to you, everybody out there. Always expect the worst. Nothing good ever happens, and you'll never be disappointed if you always expect the worst. That's a lesson for today.
I've heard that before.
Everything sucks.
I've heard that before. Ben Roethlisberger's last game, obviously, I think he even said this past week his team wasn't that good or something like that, which I'm not sure why he said that.
During the week he said, we're gonna lose. Let's just go out there and have fun. So he even admitted it.
But I will have to say, I can't say the game ends after the first quarter, but the first quarter it was no touchdowns.
The thing is, the Steelers actually had a chance in the game. Their defense stopped the Chiefs' offense at first, which is really impressive. In fact, not only did they stop them, they caused a fumble and got a defensive touchdown. So that's amazing. The problem is the offense was so bad that it just put so much strain on the defense, and they couldn't take it anymore.
Was Juju playing last night?
Juju was playing, which was really big because he had shoulder surgery, easy for me to say, like back in week 5. And so he just came back for this game. Really impressive that he was able to play at all. I think he just played, a little bit, not full time, but he was out there.
When I see players coming back after being out for 5, 6 weeks or 10 weeks, I don't know. I'm very hesitant coming back, for a playoff game. I'd like to see them a few more games coming in and get themselves warm up, but coming out cold like that, which I think Tennessee's going to feel it once Derrick Henry comes back. What do you think about that? Players coming back after 10 weeks into a playoff game?
I think it depends on the player. I think you're right that when you do come back from a long absence, you do get rusty, especially a quarterback. Running back, I think not so much. Wide receiver, maybe a little bit at first. But, I think there is a rustiness there.
Good point. That's a good point. I think quarterback for sure would be an iffy, but maybe not much of a running back. Wide receiver, it depends. I wouldn't throw him all the time, but, maybe some short passes and see where he's at and how he's feeling warmed up. But, hey, we'll see what happens because the Titans are back. Derrick Henry should be back. And anyways, we won't preview those games for next weekend. I know we have one more game tonight. We'll preview that one. But anyways, this is our wild card 6-game recap. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's go to the first game, Raiders at the Bengals. First win for the Bengals since 1991, Joe. I can't believe it was that long. I thought the Red Rifle did something between them. Apparently, that was not the case. Jamar Chase, 9 receptions, 116 yards. Joe Burrow came through. Raiders kind of kept it close, but not very enthused, it seems like. It feels like it was like going to be a Cincinnati day.
Cincinnati really looked good here, but the Raiders did have a chance at the end. They were down 7. They were driving. They were very close to scoring a touchdown, but Derek Carr could not get it done. And here's what separates the great quarterbacks from the pretty good quarterbacks. When the game is on the line, when you need a drive to score a touchdown, what do? He failed. I'm not saying it's all his fault, but I am saying the great quarterbacks find a way to get it done.
Carr finished 29 of 54 for 310 yards. Okay, good amount percentage. Were the Chargers done a better job than the Raiders?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very definitive there.
The Chargers would have done a better job than the Steelers against the Chiefs. That's for darn sure. But I think the Chargers were a little bit better than the Raiders. I think that the edge there is in quarterback because Justin Herbert is the real deal. The Chargers have a lot of other problems, but so they were evenly. But I think the Chargers were a little bit better.
Good sentimental feeling by the Bengals. The fans were excited. First victory since 1991. Who was the quarterback for the Bengals back in 1991, Joe? Trivia.
Was it Boomer Esiason?
You're right. He was. Now he's a CBS guy. So let's go on to Saturday night in Buffalo. I thought it would be closer. Not at all. I was deceived. I went out, spent money on food to watch this game. Wasn't worth it. I should have stayed home. 17-47 Bills to the Patriots. Josh Allen set a team playoff record with 5 touchdown passes, Joe, including 2 to Dawson Knox and Devin Singletary. Ran for 2 scores in the first half, and there was no chance for the Patriots to come back. They had no answers.
The Bills just look amazing right now. They are just firing on all cylinders. Josh Allen looks awesome. They just look unstoppable. I think a lot of it had to do with it being the Patriots. They know this team better than anyone. This is the 3rd time they've played this year, and they still had that anger about what happened the first time they played in Buffalo in that blizzard, and you just fluke circumstances, and everybody made a big deal out of it. So I think they were still angry about that. But yeah, the Bills are just looking really good right now.
Allen finished 21 of 25 for 308 yards. This is the worst loss for Belichick since 2010 when they lost against the Raiders 33-14. Do you remember that game?
I do not. When was that?
That was in 2010, January 10th on the playoff game. Wildcard weekend, I believe. Yeah, it was a wildcard round game.
Interesting. No, I don't remember that.
Who would they have? It would have been, who was the quarterback? Was it Joe Flacco back then? Probably. No, he came in a little bit later.
Wait, for the Patriots?
No, for the Ravens. Who was the quarterback back then?
Oh, the Ravens. Yeah, that was the Joe Flacco.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't. Those Ravens don't have good quarterbacks till now. Like Lamar Jackson is the guy that you remember. Anyways, Mac Jones struggled in finishing 24 of 38 for 232 yards with 2 touchdowns to Kendrick Bourne, including a 4-yarder in the final 2 minutes. Jones was also intercepted twice. Joe, Mac Jones, is he the future? I know he had a bad game yesterday, but do you think, hey, he's here for another year or two?
I think he is a future. I think for what they accomplished with a rookie quarterback this year, I think Patriots should consider this season as success. You know, considering last year was a disaster, they didn't make the playoffs and they just looked horrible. So they've recovered nicely. You know, when you have, I don't know if Mac Jones is going to be, the greatest quarterback ever, but he will be very good in that system. And when you have your quarterback set, then you can set the rest of the team. And he's in a rookie contract, so the Patriots can do some damage in the next few years.
How about Belichick? Do you think he's still liked? I mean, up in New England, do you think he's safe, or do you think, I don't know, man, this blowout was pretty big?
If he's not safe, nobody's safe. for all the Super Bowls he had and all the all the success he's had, he's basically you could argue he's the greatest coach of all time. So he should be able to coach there as long as he wants.
47 to 17. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. He's probably safe in my what my gut's saying. All right, another blowout. 31 Bucks, Eagles 15. Brady dominated, finished off the Eagles with touchdown passes of 2 yards to Rob Gronkowski. He completed 29 of 37 attempts without an interception, while extending his postseason record for touchdown passes to 85. Brady targeted Evans 10 times, Joe, completing 9 of the throws for 117 yards. Now we know who his second favorite person after Gronk is to pass the ball, and that is Mike Evans.
Yeah, after Antonio Brown, that whole fiasco happened, they had to figure out, okay, who's getting the ball, who's going to do what, how's this going to work, and they have a lot of talent and they have a lot of weapons, so it's a nice problem to have, and it's just a question of determining who's going to get the ball. So he likes Evans.
I was having a convo with Victor yesterday, and he was saying Scott Miller even looked good yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, when that offense is running, you could throw. I don't want to say you could throw anybody in there, but you could. You have a lot of pieces. You could do a lot of things when the offense is working right.
Eagles scored. They scored towards the end of the game. They trimmed it down to 16 points. But it wasn't enough. This Eagles, I believe Jalen Hurts was playing hurt. He had a bad ankle. Eagles team, not good enough for the playoffs yet, right?
No, and this is the argument about the 7th seed. The Steelers were the 7th seed in the AFC, and they got blown out. The Eagles were the 7th seed in the NFC, and they got blown out. I think the 7th seeds last year did not do well either. So, I mean, there's the argument that you shouldn't have the 7th seed. The Eagles really didn't belong in here, and they had their success against bad teams, so they were a bit of a fraud.
But Boston Scott had a 34-yard run, and Hurts also had a 16-yard touchdown pass to Kenneth Gainwell, but not enough to close it off. But Joe is right. I think same for the college football playoffs. Sometimes you look at these 3rd and 4th seeds, and they do not make it close. It's just they lose by 20 points or so. But we'll see. You would trim down the NFL playoffs. Hey, take out the 7th seed, go back to what it was 2 years ago.
I don't care. And here's why. Even when there was only 6 seeds, there were still blowouts.
True.
The thing is, that's just the nature of the opening round of the NFL playoffs. This happens all the time. Basically, you have your teams that make the playoffs, but they're not really good. They're pretenders. And all this weekend has done is just weed out the pretenders. The real good football starts next week in the division round, but this week is just weeding out the blah.
Is interesting.
Not to be critical.
Yeah, absolutely right. 49ers 23, Cowboys 17. This was probably the most exciting game of the weekend. I expected it. The Niners had a good lead throughout the game. The Cowboys finally came back in it somewhat. And the Cowboys were favored by 3 points coming into this match. But the Niners, I'm not sure what happened. That momentum that came from last week when they beat the Rams came through Dallas. I love the momentum. What happened last week? What happened yesterday was pretty exciting. The Niners, had an issue actually with Garoppolo throwing an interception that kind of maybe gives some hope to Cowboys, but Cowboys cannot complete towards the end. I remember, I believe Dak ran it. He should have spiked it, or he should have throw incomplete, but the Cowboys kind of screwed up at the end.
It was amazing. Basically, what happened was the 49ers were a really bad matchup for the Cowboys. And it happens. You know, what they say, styles make the fights. The 49ers, just for what they do, they're a strong running team with a strong defense. That was just the worst possible team for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are just, this is what they do. They're either overrated or they disappoint in the playoffs. They do it all the time. That final play was just unbelievable. I believe they had 16 seconds left. Dak does a quarterback run, and he doesn't give the ball to the official. The official basically tackles him. It was just an absolute mess, and in all the confusion, the time runs out. A complete failure by the Cowboys to not even get a play off into the end zone. It's an organization failure. It's a failure of the players. It's a failure of the coaches. It is an embarrassment. They should all be ashamed of themselves. Major failure.
Debo Samuel ran for 26 yards for a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk also had a great game. They lost Nick Bosa before halftime, but they came through. But these Niners teams have stars. You can't forget that.
They have a lot of talent. You know, Kittle is one of the best tight ends. Debo is amazing. Ayuk is amazing. They got a lot of talent. But like I said last week, they're going to go as far as Jimmy G will take them. If Jimmy G is good, and he was mostly good in this game. He screwed up a little bit, but he also had some good plays. So if Jimmy G can be right, this team will go far. But if Jimmy G screws up, then they're not doing anything.
They also had the rookie Elijah Mitchell ran for 96 yards and the game's first point on a 4-yard run. Samuel had 72 yards on 10 carries and 3 catches for 38 yards. The game plan is right. I totally agree with Joe about Garoppolo. Hey, he has taken his team to the Super Bowl before, so this is nothing new. He's also playing for a contract. How much pressure is Garoppolo feeling right now?
I believe he said something like, I'm playing like every game is my last game. He knows this is it. He knows he's going to be traded. He knows he's playing for a contract in a new team. And he has played well over the past few weeks, so he's helped his trade value. But I think there's no doubt that he's going to go somewhere. It's just what situation he's going to go into is the question. The better he does, the better situation he's going to be end up in.
Cowboys, is Mike McCarthy out, or you think they'll keep him another year, Jerry Jones style?
Oh my goodness, that's a good question. Oh,
I don't know.
wow.
I can't answer that question myself.
Well, here's the thing. They have that, I think it's Kellen Clemens or something like that, and he is a hot candidate. They also have Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, who is also another hot coaching candidate. So does Jerry Jones say, do I lose these guys to another team, or do I just keep them for myself and promote them and get rid of Mike McCarthy? Mike McCarthy is garbage. He was garbage in Green Bay. He's garbage here. He just sucks. This is nothing. Anybody that knows anything about Mike McCarthy is not surprised at this result and not surprised that this happened. So yeah, I don't know. I've heard rumors that Jerry Jones might make a change, so it would not surprise me.
He said this year, Super Bowl or bust.
I think that's a little that's a little crazy. I mean, they had that amazing draft, Micah Parsons and Diggs. Yeah, that's a great draft. You have 2 superstars in one draft. That's amazing. So they have a lot to build on. They have a lot to. They have a lot of talent there. So and Dak is young, so I don't know what the Super Bowl or bust talk is, but the Cowboys still have a bright future. Very,
very young squad, as Joe said. Let's go to Sunday Night Football, as we discussed earlier on the show. Chiefs 4-2, Steelers 21. The Chiefs were cruising. Roethlisberger, last game, but the Chiefs had a 23-0 halftime lead. Joe, give us your morning words over this matchup.
Basically, how the Steelers won 9 games is, I think archaeologists need to investigate this like 50 years from now or something like that, and just examine like, how did this happen? They had easily the worst offensive line in the league. Poor Ben, he just was getting killed out there. He was, he's 39 going on 79. It was a shame because with a good offense, the Steelers had a chance, but the defense, they did their best. They held the Chiefs at first, but then the dam broke and the Chiefs just ran wild on them. So, and the Chiefs are really good. So, it was just a combination of what the heck is this team doing here, and the Chiefs just firing on all cylinders.
5 touchdowns came from the right arm of Patrick Mahomes, who threw for over 400 yards to send the Chiefs to the divisional round, which will play against the Bills, which is interesting. Roethlisberger, 29 of 44 for 215 yards with 2 meaningless touchdown passes late in the game. Not enough. But I will have to say the Chiefs and the Bills were the hottest teams this weekend, Joe.
Yeah. And they play each other, which is going to be an amazing game next week. So
should I asterisk that game as like the best game of the weekend next weekend? Is that what I'm looking at?
I think
because it could
be all 4 games.
Could be the Bucks as well versus the Rams.
Or the Cardinals.
You're saying the Cardinals.
You never know. I think Bengals Titans is going to be a real good game. I think 49ers Packers is going to be a very interesting game. So I think all 4 games are going to be interesting. But yeah, the best might be Bills Chiefs. It's just 2 teams that are just at the top of their game right now. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And breaking records, 5 touchdowns each quarterback. I mean, the Bills, Joe, they had the perfect offense playing on Saturday night.
They really did. Early in the season, they were just floundering because they were just pass heavy. They just absolutely refused to run the ball. And they finally figured out, hey, run the ball, dummy. And when they started running the ball, they became a balanced attack. And they kept defenses on their toes. The defense was always good. So, yeah, everything's going well for them right now.
Was the weather a factor, you think? Or nah, New England can play in that weather fine?
I think it was just cold. It wasn't like a blizzard or anything like that one time they played. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it wasn't fun to be in the stadium, although the Bills fans looked like they were having a good time.
They were. Anyways, it does get cold in Kansas City, so it should be not too much different when they go to Kansas City. But, hey, it's going to be a good weekend. As Tom Brady says, it gets harder from here after he beat the Eagles. So, and, of course, we have one more wild card game tonight. Cardinals at the Rams. All divisional games this weekend, by the way. The only game that these two where 2 teams did not face each other during the regular season were the Cowboys and Niners. The Cardinals and Rams have faced each other twice already. Who will win the NFC West I call it the NFC West championship game. But what's going to happen tonight in SoFi Stadium with a score? Go ahead, Joe.
I'm thinking I know it's crazy, and I know Hopkins isn't there, but I'm liking the Cardinals. I think the Rams are just going to fold under the pressure. They got a lot of pressure on them. We talked about Jerry Jones saying Super Bowl or bust. Literally in LA, it's for the Rams, it's Super Bowl or bust. They must win a Super Bowl right now. That's a lot of pressure. Matthew Stafford, I believe he might have played a one playoff game in his life, but really, he is either really good or really bad. It's a 50-50 shot with him. I could see him folding under the pressure, and I could see the Cardinals rising to the occasion. So I think it's going to be a really good game. I'll say Cardinals 31, Rams 27.
You said last Wednesday in our big show You picked the Cardinals, and you did it again today. You haven't changed your mind. Last week you said 33-29. Today, 31-27.
Okay.
Pretty
Maybe
close.
somebody will get a safety. Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's just different numbers. Interesting. You're going for the Cardinals. You have faith in them. I think the Rams are too overloaded. I think they'll edge it out at worst. But I don't know if there's going to be a blowout. I don't think so. But
I think it's a toss up. I think it's an absolute toss up, and I think it's going to be a close game either way. But the Rams can easily win this game. I think it's going to be awesome.
Either way, the winner goes to Tampa. Who does Tom Brady want?
Tom Brady wants the Cardinals because he doesn't want to face Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and whoever else is on that. That's a really good Rams defense, and Von Miller, and that's a really good Rams defense. So I think the Bucs are actually in trouble because it depends on if that Wirfs is out.
He came out, I think, after halftime or before halftime, and then he came back in. It's like, no, take him out because he doesn't look good.
I think that's a huge loss, and if he's not able to play, that's going to be a huge loss for them. Brady needs his protection. That's an old man right there. So the Bucs could be in trouble if their offensive line is a mess.
22-year-old Tristan Wirfs from Iowa. Definitely, he says there's something like the commentator said yesterday, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, that Wirfs thinks about Tom Brady to protect him every time. I have no idea. But did you hear the commentators? Troy Aikman was saying that he wished he commentated the Niners and Cowboys game.
Boy, was he annoyed. He really wanted to announce that 49ers Cowboys game. He was annoyed. He even said that. So funny. So funny. Because he was probably complaining about that all week. And he was probably just telling anybody that would listen that he wanted about that. So it's funny that it got to air. And it probably annoys him because Tony Romo is the one that ended up calling that game. It's like, what's Tony Romo ever done for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Troy Aikman won multiple Super Bowls.
Well, either way, CBS had the rights to that game. So we'll see next week we'll see what next week would Fox. I believe they probably got the Tampa Bay versus Rams or Cardinals game. I imagine, if I had to take a guess right now, but
probably. Yeah, I'm not sure who does what, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, because they kind of I think these past 2 seasons or 3, they've been shuffling because it used to be CBS only takes the AFC games and Fox takes all the NFC games, but I think they've been shuffling in the past 2-3 years. So Fox.
Boy, that was so weird when the 49ers Cowboys game was on CBS. I'm like, hey,
yeah.
These are 2 NFC teams. What's going on here? Yeah, that weirds me out when they do stuff like that.
Exactly. Anyways, Joe Toscano, what is the best way to reach you online to ask you, hey, can Roethlisberger go to another team next season?
He's not going to another team. He'd have to fill out, the W-2 forms. He'd have to, that's a lot. There's a lot of paperwork for an old man. He got to sign up for Medicare. He got to sign up for AARP. He got to, all that old person stuff he got to sign up for. So, get his, all his prescriptions set up. So he has a lot to do in retirement. I'm Joey Bag of Donuts V and 7F.
There you have it. And I think Roethlisberger had a good press conference. Pretty good. It was kind of emotional. Mike Tomlin was about to tear up, I believe, at the end when they asked him about Roethlisberger's last game. But Roethlisberger said, look, I really hope for the future of Steelers players. They understand what it is to be a Steelers player, to have that respect, to have that loyalty. Because, I agree with them. It is a different aspect compared to other teams because Steelers – they go deep and hard. Their fans, when they move out of Pittsburgh, they're still a Steelers fan.
Yeah, there is a tradition. There is a standard. There is a legacy. Basically, since the early 70s, the Steelers have been really good. They were bad in the 80s, but then they were good again in the 90s, early 2000s, and now. Basically, there is a standard of excellence and also of how you carry yourself, and he hopes that continues. It's a little iffy because you have some players that are a little immature and a little idiotic, So we'll see if that changes. But yeah, he's right. There is a standard there.
We'll be seeing Mason Rudolph next season, right? What's the probability of that?
Most likely it's Mason. It's either Mason or Dwayne Haskins, and they'll probably draft a rookie just to learn and stuff. But yeah, I think most likely you're looking at Mason Rudolph unless they like get Jimmy G or some goofy thing like that. Who knows? I mean, this offseason is going to be goofy, but I highly doubt they're going to trade for someone or unless some crazy free agent. Hey, maybe Derek Carr. I wouldn't mind him.
Whoa, you heard it here first. I have not heard that. And yeah, Derek
Do
Carr. Yeah, Derek Carr actually is rumored to perhaps maybe leave the Raiders. So we'll see what happens in the offseason, and we'll see if things turn out best for the Steelers. You can reach us at thesportscast.net or on our Twitter, thesportscast1, for the latest and greatest. We'll be discussing, previewing throughout the week what's going to happen next weekend, because I think next weekend should be less blowouts, maybe one, but hopefully none, and hopefully see some more competition. I love the NFL playoffs. Best time of the year. Better than March Madness. Better than any other tournament in the world. Anyways, Joe, it's been a pleasure.
Always, sir. Thanks for having me.
And this was your update.